Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Bird the Nerd with another video game market report. It looks like the market for video games is dropping a little bit. Some new video games that we haven't looked at before. I try and keep these fairly new since I just started doing them, but I hope you guys enjoy them. It's very heavy on Sonic and Xbox. I wanted to kind of touch on those two particular subjects. I feel there's a huge opportunity with Xbox 360 store closing and a little bit more focused. It's an older system, right? But there are opportunities where the market hasn't really gone up quite as much as like PS2 or PS1 or like the Wii, GameCube games. So you still want to get these games sealed, which is still possible, and it's a little bit easier to determine whether or not these seals on Xbox 360 games or this particular game that we'll be talking about. It's a little bit easier to find out what those if it's not a reseal or not. So if you are enjoying these shows, these episodes, please hit that like button, subscribe, tell all your friends about them. I do comic books, I do One Piece, I do video games. I might start doing magazines. We'll see. I want to get a little bit more knowledge about that before I start doing that. But just trying to get the word out here. We're at almost 700 subscribers. We're still going strong, and we're almost monetized. So that's always pretty cool. But without further ado, let's get into this particular episode. So hold on, I just want to start from the beginning. So I've been using price charting like quite a bit. I just think for me, they're probably the best out of all of the websites I've seen as far as video games are concerned. It's just a really clean, software website, whatever you want to call it. And I like how it uses a different range of what the prices have been over a specific period of time. Now, in the past few couple of videos, I've been using, give me 1 second. I've been using the range of, I don't know, 3 to 5 years. Now, what's interesting about video games versus like, let's say comic books, for example, is the market has actually done pretty well since the pandemic, meaning I think even during the pandemic, people weren't really collecting video games. So I still think it's an untapped market. I think the knowledge of video games and how grading works is very, very elementary. I'll show you an example real quick. So what I have here, I'm going to stop sharing this real quick. Sorry. What I have right here is a complete in-box video game. That's grade 8.0. 8.0. It's Fortnite. It's clearly labeled here, as you can see, complete in box. It doesn't say sealed. It doesn't say sealed. It's obviously complete in box. It's got the grade of the box itself, the disc, no manual is concerned. There's also little tidbits on the CGC guy that there are 2 inserts, an early access pack and whatever that says over there. Now, I put this on eBay just to kind of get a sense of the market, and I was surprised because this video game in 8.0, complete in box again, is going for about $170. And I got several inquiries about this particular game, Fortnite, on PS4, and people were asking whether or not the inserts were used. And I was like, well, I don't know because it's a complete in box, grade. And they're like, oh, it's not sealed. I'm like, 100% is not sealed. It's complete in box. And so what I found was people weren't bidding on this particular game, or they retracted their bid because they didn't know the meaning of a complete in box video game, what it meant. So for all you people that don't know, and I won't call them newbies because like they're more experts on wanting to know the value, or they knew the value of the actual insert if it wasn't used. The intention for this is not to be cracked open. You can't really crack them open for a better grade. You can't really crack them open for, I mean, there's a reason why you put a complete in box in a graded seal, or not a graded seal, but like a graded case or what have you. Now, I have no idea whether or not those deals have been used or what have you, but that wasn't my intention anyway. I just wanted a complete video game. So if you are searching for, let's say, a game that is sealed or doesn't have the inserts used, I'd probably recommend not getting a complete in box, or at least confirming with the person who's selling it, confirm with them whether or not that the DLC has been used or not. it's a different side of video game collecting, I think, versus actual playing or what have you. But it's made a difference in the fact that people are retracting the bids. They're not even bidding in the first place. Good to ask questions and all that, but also know that to save yourself some time, if you see a game that's complete in box that's graded like that, do not bid on it if you intend on using DLCs within the game, because more than likely they're already used. Because the whole point of putting something in a case is so it's not cracked open. That's all I'm saying. So both sides, I think, are learning as this market kind of continues, and it was just something that I wanted to point out for people as well. I think the next show that we'll do, because I've had some requests. Shout out to Blade Builder Mike on the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, please do so. He had some questions on what negates a good seal, and it's really tough sometimes to tell whether or not something's resealed, whether that's with an old hair dryer or what have you. But I would say that you just have to have a nice eye and use your comparison right to an actual sealed game versus like a resealed game. I can't give a complete black and white kind of guide to do that, just because it's so hard to tell whether something's like really resealed. But I would just say, just train your eye, look at a sealed one, compare it to ones you see on eBay, ask for multiple pictures when you're trying to buy something, because I won't say 9 times out of 10, but it's a 50-50 bet. And I actually have a better eye nowadays than I did before, whether or not a game is like a 9.4 or 9.6, 9.8 than I did like 3 months ago. So, but also I'll shut up. We'll get into this market report. So Dead Space for the PS3, the second one. Obviously, this is Dead Space for PS3. This game is the sequel that came out in 2011. I always think of, the easiest, or I would say the safest bets for video games, if you're just curious of like the subject, right? It's always horror. Horror always does really well because people love horror video games, man. I mean, it is what it is. I think they just sell really well. It's easy to, they don't print as many of them as well. So I think this being a more popular video game and having that space horror, there's not that many of them. I think this is an opportunity here for especially a newer one. You saw like the past like 5 years here. So this is pandemic year. You could have bought this for $14.99 in July of 2020. Let's go down to like January 2021. So $16 for a sealed one. And look, 52.51. This is kind of sold out at $40. Now, I kind of think of this game. I mean, it's an older game. So, and what I mean by older, it's 2011. So that's 10 years ago. Dead Space, it's the more they do later down the road, I think it's more potential. But the fact this is a PS3 horror game from 2011 and it's selling for half the price when it actually came out, I think it's not a bad bet just to get just to put $30. Like that's not that much. Put it away for 5 years. Who knows? Like the grade A video game market could increase quite a bit. I mean, as you can tell from that graph, there's not that much there right now, but I think it's worth something to get into, and it's really cheap. The title of this show is "Prices Are Falling." I think that's still kind of happening right now, but I think it's a buying opportunity for sure. So Sonic Unleashed Xbox 360. This is a very heavy Sonic Xbox 360 or Sonic and Xbox 360 list. I think the FOMO hasn't hit Xbox 360 yet. I think it's just a matter of time, just because the announcement of the Xbox 360 store being closed. It's an older system. It's not the most recent system, and it was out like almost 2 decades ago. This game specifically came out in 2008. It kind of reminds me of the Pokemon, what was it, racing game that didn't really pan out very well as far as critically acclaimed. This one sold pretty well, but it was heavily criticized. So the risk here, right, is that people still don't give a crap about this game, but it's still Sonic, and I feel like if you can get like a cheap price, it's not a bad idea. Let's look. Hold on 1 second. So we're looking at the Xbox 360 version. Okay. Oops, that is not what I wanted to do. Okay, Xbox 360, Sonic Unleashed. So this new, okay, let's do the 5-year chart. Hasn't really spiked up. There's a little bit of a spike in August of last year, but for 20 bucks, man, why not? I mean, like, if you can find a good price or a really good seal, it's a 9.8. It's so hard to get 9.8s in video games in general. So, like, you might get lucky, who knows? But I think for 20 bucks, that's the price of like a essentially a dollar bin video game, I guess you'd call it. But I think with Sonic being so, being so popular, the fact that Xbox 360, this might be their time right now for collectors to get back into it. I almost bought Xbox 360 myself. I think the risk reward is very low on this game. So let's go on to the next one. And keeping on with the Sonic theme here, Sonic Generations for the PS3. Now, I mean, look at this. This is like a box full of really good stuff. The sealed box is very clean. So if you were going to be a hardcore collector like myself, grade the video game box, keep it capsuled or whatever, it's probably going to grade pretty high. You're probably going to have to go to CAS to get this graded, and it'll take 4 months, and it'll cost you about 120 bucks or so to do that. Don't quote me on that, but that's just the estimation I would think it would cost. 300 bucks about a month ago, last time I saw. I'm not going to price chart for this one just because I knew the price off the bat, but look at all those goodies, man. And for a PS3 collector's video game, that's pretty fair. I think this is the perfect collection for a Sonic video game fan, especially if you're a PlayStation fan as well. And you know, I just saw the prices for PS3. I don't know if you go off the Xbox 360 version or off the PS3 version. I guess I'll just leave it up to the buyer there. But I think for 300 bucks, that's a pretty good deal, for especially for a collector's PS3 video game as well. There weren't that many that came out back then, and it's just a beautiful piece. So, Sonic Generations PS3. On to the next. Oh, okay. Well, whatever. Splatterhouse, another horror video game. This is I don't know. It's again, it's a horror game. It's a safe play because horror games are, people just love them. I don't know, for whatever reason. They're very collectible as well. 99 bucks for a seal last time I saw. You could get this. I think you want to get the PlayStation version of this. Why don't we look at, I'm going to see if there's enough information. It looks like there is for Splatterhouse. And let's look at, wow, this would be kind of cool. Wow. Okay. TurboGrafx 16 has a version. Let's see. Is that the right one? Hold on 1 second. I'm going to click on this. First, I want to check out if this is the right one. No, that is not the right one we're looking at. But the more recent version here, Xbox 360. Let's look at a sealed one. Compare it to CIB. So 77 bucks. April this past year, and then it went up. Wow, 40 bucks within a month or so. I don't know the graded prices on these. There's only 5 sales this past year. I'm not going to click on that, but it's selling an average of 1 per week, which is pretty good for an Xbox 360 game. I would say I'd go for the Xbox 360 just because I think there's a little bit more potential there. There's a little bit more noise with Xbox games for right now. Recently, you can go with the PS version. I'm going to go with the Xbox 360 myself. And yeah, watch out for those Y-folds. This game came out in 2010, just kind of give you an idea of how old it is as well. So just want to put that out there. And Splatterhouse, horror game, 100 bucks. If you can get it for that price and get it graded for like a 9.4 or higher, I think you're going to make your money back pretty quickly. So let's go on to the next one. But before we do that, I just want to say again, thanks everyone for your support. We're about 15 minutes into the show. Hit that like button, subscribe, tell all your friends about these video game market reports that I'm doing weekly. I'll keep doing them. I think the last one we did, it had 160 views. It took a little bit of time to get off and running, but nonetheless, man, I guess the market for video game reports is hot. So we'll keep doing them for you guys. Castlevania PS3, I feel like I've talked about this game before. I was trying to play this game. I was trying to buy it on the PlayStation Store specifically, and you have to get a subscription to buy this game. And so it turned me off a little bit because I don't want to pay for a PlayStation subscription. But the reason I wanted to get this game is it reminded me the playability of it reminded me of like Devil May Cry a little bit. And Castlevania has always been like 2D, right? You just go left, right, blah, blah, blah. But this evidently is the first version that has kind of an all-world kind of feel to it. So that would be really cool. The stories for Castlevania have always been very rich. You know, starting off from the very first one to Simon's Quest to, well, I don't know because I haven't played this game, but I thought this would be a good game to invest in. Castlevania PS3, last time I saw it goes for like $30. Again, kind of a low buy-in, possibly like will hold that value. Hasn't really gone up lately, but it's a Castlevania game. I think, again, those PS3 holders, they're just getting older, trying to get that nostalgia bug. And, you know, it's not a bad idea to try and cash that in. I haven't seen any graded versions of this, but, you know, when I think about horror, when I think about consistent titles that have been with video game universes for like ever. I think of the Resident Evils, I think of the Metal Gear Solids, I think of Mario, I think of Donkey Kong, I think of anything Pokemon. Castlevania is like right up there. And there's a huge following for this world of Castlevania. It's just so awesome. There's a freaking show about it, which is amazing as well. Yeah. So this is why I picked this. Is again another one. I have a couple actually this past week. A couple try and just hold and get them for like a low value of video games. So Castlevania PS3, $29.99 sealed. Try and get a sealed one if you guys can, and we'll go on to the next one. Oops, that's the wrong tab. All right. Again, Sonic Heroes. I'm going a little old school Xbox. You think I'm bullish on Sonic or what? I definitely am bullish. And that was just like a small survey I've taken from about 20 little kids under the ages of 14 or under. They love Sonic. They love Kirby. Those are the top two. They always go Kirby or Sonic, Kirby or Sonic. It just goes back and forth. But there's a movie out with freaking Sonic. I would go into, DVDs if I could, but I don't think I'm going to go that route. But I think there's a lot of value in the Xbox game versus the PS3 version of this game. Let's look at kind of the Sonic Heroes. Let's look. Okay, before I pull that up. And there's a GameCube version of this as well, but we're looking at Xbox. Okay, so you're going to want to go for a sealed one because I think it's inexpensive at this point. CIBs are going for like $8. You don't want to do CIB. If you're buying's a little bit more like $25, man, for a Sonic Xbox game. It's probably not that many of them. I would assume that more kids, there are more GameCube versions of Sonic Heroes versus Xbox. I mean, when Xbox came out, what was the number one game that came out for Xbox? Halo. I mean, obviously, right? It was obviously Halo. So Xbox was geared to compete against PlayStation, not Nintendo. So I feel like there's probably there's less copies out there of Xbox. And if there are copies out there, they probably already opened and played with. So I feel like $20 for an Xbox sealed game is a very good deal. Just try and when you're looking for, those games and you're intending to grade them or hold on to them for a long time, just make sure that you ask for pictures on each corner. Look at the Y folds. Try and make sure that, it hasn't been opened. On the side of Xbox games, there's like an Xbox official label to kind of show the integrity of it not being opened. That's, I would say, like the easiest thing for you. PlayStation used to do on their original games, but I can't remember if they do them on the PS2s. Some of them have it, some don't. So just ask for a bunch of pictures. I mean, people are trying to sell these games. If it's a good seller, he'll do it immediately for you. So, but yeah, Sonic Heroes Xbox on the original Xbox system, sealed. Go get it. Try and see if you can get snacks them for really cheap, and hopefully you'll make some money off of it. PS2, the Grand Theft Auto trilogy. This is not 1300 for a newsie. I'm so sorry, I messed up on the slides there. But let us look at Grand Theft Auto. The definitive edition is more the one that I think people know of, but let's look at this one. Okay. So I think Grand Theft Auto, with the next one coming up and the series just kind of continuing here, I think this is a good investment. Any old school PlayStation or old school Grand Theft Auto that's sealed. I tried to buy an Xbox one the other day, and the guy did a horrible job of describing it. It's in horrible shape, but I feel like if you get like a 9.0 in this game, it's still worth it. I don't know if there's any graded sales here, but let's see. Wow. Okay, 510 for a graded version. Let's take a look. Okay, these are graded 9.8, 90 in VGA, not bad. 589 for 9.8 as well. 699 for a wow. So if you get that 9.8, man, good luck to you. That's like triple your value. It's really tough to get 9.8, by the way, people. It's even in newer games, it's really tough. But nonetheless, Grand Theft Auto, the trilogy edition for PS2. Try and get a really nice sealed copy, I guess. Fallout number 3 for the Xbox 360. Last time I saw this, it was 99 bucks. There is a definitive collectability about this, just because of Fallout being, with the show on Amazon. I think it's a long-term spec play for me, personally, because you hit Fallout, which is a very popular series, and a show. It's an Xbox 360 game, probably a little bit less than PlayStation, and yeah, I think this game came out in 2008, so watch out for those Y-folds, watch out for reseals, all that. But again, I think the other thing about Xbox in general is it's a little bit safer to determine whether or not the seal is legit, because it's on the side of it. It's gonna have that that kind of deal. So anyway, Fallout 3, Xbox 360. Good luck. $100, not bad at all. I'm not mad at it. And last but not least, Armored Core number 5. I've heard so much about this game. I never played it, but it looks really freaking fun. I think you can download this game and play it. From what I know, which again is not that much for this game, it's your typical like military type game, and there's 5 of them. So PS3, I went kind of that same Xbox 360 era. $80 sealed, 350 for a graded version. It's a nice one. Again, I've never heard of this game before, but I just want to put it on the list because I thought, well, I'm always learning, always want to be curious of like what's moving the market. And for some reason, this 5th iteration of Armored Core has really done something with the market. But yeah, there's so many opportunities out there too. I mean, I think I'm stop sharing this. I think with comic books being, there's a lot of FOMO out there with comic books, and it's less buy-in to flip a comic book for $1 and sell it for 100, but the likelihood of that happening is very low. Whereas if you just hit that one person that has nostalgia over a $20 sealed video game, and you can go to like, hopefully these videos help you go to like garage sales or video game stores and try and get some arbitrage opportunities out there. Again, complete in box means this is not sealed. It's just sealed in this case. But complete in box, as you can see there, does not mean that the video game itself is sealed. So if you are a player and you're trying to get DLCs that are used and it's in one of these guys, do not do it. Do not bid on it. You're going to waste the seller's time. But we're all learning together, and I definitely don't think that video games is a gatekeeping type of hobby. We'll see. But again, I just want to thank everyone for watching. Click that like button, subscribe, tell all your friends about this. We'll see you next time. Have a great week.